Welcome back, everybody. We're going to start things off very, very soon. A major matchup, k1llsen and vengeurR going head-to-head. I'm sure everyone's excited for it. I know I am. My name's Ketchup, joined by ZSX. Welcome, everybody. And it's been a good day so far, actually. It's been quite a nice reintroduction to competitive Quake. Season 2 has had quite a few changes made to how the stages are constructed and the players and all this good stuff continuing. But I'm done with it being just the two of us right now. It's going to be time for a special guest. The main man, the original and classic DJ Wheat. Let's bring him in. Wow. How's it going, man? I can hear you. I heard you fine.
Yeah, good for me. You're a trooper. You guys wearing the same t-shirt?
I think so.
That's really cute. Oh, look at that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't deserve it today. That's fine.
The exact colors. The exact colors. But I mean, like, what can we really say about what can we say about it that hasn't already been said? Just the fact that k1llsen and vengeurR, they go back and forth so consistently. It's a pure. I always consider it almost a celebration of competitive Quake champs.
I think they agree as well. Like it's super rare you find two players that are so closely matched in so many ways, and yet just enjoy it, win or lose. Like even when k1llsen lost at QuakeCon, he's just congratulated vengeurR and said how much he enjoyed the battle, and like that's incredibly rare. I would never go up and do that. I would break a chair and walk off because that's how I lost, unceremoniously. So it's nice to see them both really enjoying that aspect of being able to play against each other, and as you say, it's always a treat just because of how closely matched they are and how similarly they play.
Now, I mean, if we're talking about results and predictions and all this other stuff, it is just a quick FYI, everyone. It has been worked on behind the scenes, getting everyone listening to Wheat, because we can hear him personally, but obviously what we hear with each other is different to what gets put out on the stream. So don't worry, we are. He said story of my life, by the way. For those that couldn't hear it, he said story of my life. I'll fill in the blanks. Apologies for this, everyone. But yeah, they're currently working on his audio, and then when you people can hear him, we'll bring him back in, and we'll continue things as they are. But don't worry, we are paying attention. We do know it's just being worked on, right? Don't want to break the fourth wall here. Don't want to break the fourth wall too much. We've got a show to get going. We've got a show to get through. But to go back to the matchup, I mean, this is always a match that you can expect in like the late part of a tournament, top 4, top 3. This could be a grand finals, and it would make sense. I think we're in for a real treat today.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Got the somewhat resurgence of k1llsen over the past couple of stages, and vengeurR just keeps from strength to strength. He's definitely had time to reflect on where he wants to go, even coming third at QuakeCon. He's not happy with that performance, and that's admirable from such a young, aspiring competitor. And I know he's been working on certain aspects of his game as well. Let's see how much they pay dividends moving into Season 2.
Absolutely. And I've always been, like, personally a really big fan of vengeurR. I love this idea that, I know there was this thing for a long time where it almost seemed early on, with the exception like Razy, that Quake was still absolutely thoroughly dominated by the legendary Quake players of old, no matter what Quake they came from, or a lot of the sort of like slightly older generation was still just kind of dominating the game across the board. And vengeurR is such a wonderful celebration of the younger generation that they've grown up with Quake. Quake Champions was not vengeurR's first Quake game, right? I'm sure, but it's like, this is his breakout game. This was where his breakout performance came from. The latest title, where he's able to hang with players that he no doubt grew up watching. Like, it's such a wonderful story, and it was only a matter of time until a player that was like that stepped into the scene and became a top player.
Yeah, I think he's the only guy in the European scene that I can think off the top of my head that has come out of that bracket, if you will. Obviously, North America has a few more of those. I think Dramis and the likes obviously have played previous Quakes before, but are relatively new to the scene, do we as well? But vengeurR is the standout about anyone that's come through, like sitting up on that top 3 or 4th position in the leaderboard consistently, placing top 3 or 4 in lands consistently is such an achievement, and is the mark of someone that can go on to be the next future champion, future domination of the scene, because he is, as you said, so young with a lot of potential and so many areas of his game that are already as strong as they are. It only bodes well.
There's plenty more Quake in his lifetime. That's the golden rule. Now, I believe, I've got my fingers crossed, you can't see it.
Oh no.
We should have DJ Wheat ready to go. Can we hear you?
Hello.
I'm just gonna get the stream right now. I'm gonna click the
Hello.
stream
What's
right
the
now.
delay? Isn't the delay like a minute or so?
I don't know.
I don't
can
know.
you not hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay,
All right,
okay. Well,
perfectly.
I would repeat everything that I said before, but I'm old and I completely forgot what I said. So, actually, just that vengeurR and k1llsen's a match that I was looking forward to. Excited to be here. I'm going to be joining more often, and yeah, it's great to be here, guys. Sorry about the issue.
You were saying something about how much you would look up to me as well.
This is true. I was commenting about how I have that same shirt. Yeah. And,
is that it? Oh, sorry.
uh-huh.
I thought there was some other compliments thrown in there.
No, dude, that thing where we both showed off that we're wearing a Quake Pro League shirt, that must have looked so much more awkward when you can only hear me. That must have just been so much worse. It must have been. But I mean, yeah, I've almost completely got it. This is why DJ Wheat's normally the host, right? I've completely lost track. vengeurR versus k1llsen. Picks and bans, we'll be seeing that real soon. I am curious actually to see what the journey's going to be. They don't tend to go against the grain too much with their picks. They go as meta as physically possible. So it's Blood Run, first of all. Athena getting picked again with the visor. Corrupted Keep, Doomslayer versus Ranger. Battle of the poster boys. I love it. And then Veil of Nat.
The clutch.
Oh, that's a battle of big bodies right there. Sorlag. And then the clutch pick from vengeurR. That is interesting.
Yeah, we see our first Corrupted Keep of the day, which I'm really excited for. I love to watch that map. I'm not entirely confident on the pick of clutch on Veil, and then the Sorlag in response to the clutch. That's a really great counter. So it's going to be, we'll see how vengeurR plays it. I'm not entirely confident on that. The other 2 maps, very, very standard picks throughout. We've got a mirror matchup on Corrupted Keep. That should be clever. vengeurR with the Doom, though. And then Athena, good verticality on Blood Run, so should be okay going against Advisor, who will be using that piercing sight to great effect, I'm sure.
Just a quick disclaimer, it was Blood Covenant was the correct, that's why the graphics cut away. It's actually Blood Covenant will be our first map, so the picks are the exact same, it's just Blood Covenant instead of Blood Run. So
I think it's definitely better on Blood Covenant than Blood Run. You don't want to be caught in corridors, and that's very possible in Blood Run, so the open space is definitely better for that.
I want to ask you guys, just, coming off of season 1 and k1llsen looking to secure a championship, I would say probably not super thrilled with his run in the finals, the Quake World Championships. But it's a new day, it's a new season, it's a new stage. I'm just curious. Like, vengeurR looked absolutely incredible, taking it all the way to the end. k1llsen kind of falling a little bit short. Is there that extra fire, considering that this is kind of the kickoff match for season 2, stage 1?
I mean, it's important, isn't it? The fact that we've gone into, and I will continually remind people today for sure, as there have been so many changes made, small changes here and there that I think greatly impact everything else. The fact that we're going in with a clean slate, every stage has its clean slate that matters.
Mm-hmm.
There is no room for error. So I think the easy answer to that question is, yeah, there's going to be a damn sight more drive, I think, because it's not like k1llsen and vengeurR going head to head, and they're both like, well, I'm high up on the leaderboard, so we're just fighting for pride and seeding. You're always fighting for your tournament life. So on top of it being a close and competitive match, it's like your losses will be punished so much more now than they arguably would have been, especially early on where we're establishing that balance of power. So I think there's a lot of motivation.
they're also fighting for prize money, and we know how much people like money. So, yeah.
This is true, especially when you win it playing Quake. It's pretty great, right?
So I'm expecting big things. I think vengeur's got more to prove than k1llsen. Obviously, k1llsen's been there, done that. He's always at the top, but vengeur's the one looking to cement himself as the next generation. So every time he's able to get one over, it's always going to be a huge confidence boost for him. For k1llsen, it's still going to be another day at the office.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, like, not to say that they're both equally hungry, but you are talking about, right? I think vengeurR and just his results at the end of season 1 definitely kind of put him in that position to say, I want to keep rising. So I would kind of say that, right, the onus is on k1llsen to really bring it today, because vengeurR left season 1 looking very nice.
Yeah, I think it's a question when you're as young as vengeurR is. It's like, when do you ever feel like you're at that point where you feel established? Like, he's obviously proven himself, but he's also still growing and still somewhat playing against the people he's looked up to since he started Quake. So I don't know the answer to it. It's just a weird dilemma to when do you feel part of that community, and when do you feel like I'm the favorite now? So
that's a good question. I mean, I hope he feels a part of the community. I guess the answer I would say is, like,
tier, I mean,
do you ever feel that way as a Quake player? Like, do you ever feel like I've hit my peak? I'm like, I'm done. I always seems like there's still more to be done.
I mean, you've got a player like k1llsen, how long it took him to get a major victory for a very, very long time during last year's Pro League. And I'm pretty sure he would have been a very similar player to say, even as one of the most legendary Quake players of all time, one of the oldest players in the competitive scene currently, getting a win. And this is my first time I've won an event in a very long time. Like, it's just an insane, for me, a testament to the legacy of Quake as a entire series of games, how we can go that far back to talk about players that are still going and still striving to be even better than they were 20 years ago, or however long it's been for some of them. It's absolute insanity. But gentlemen, if I were to put you on the spot for this one and ask for predictions, starting with you, Wheat, how do you see this one going?
So I'm gonna double down on what I said, and I'm gonna say that, vengeurR coming off of season 1, and I think he's gonna take it, but I don't think it'll be a sweep by any means. I would suspect that these games are going to be close, and that k1llsen would at least take a map. I mean, I feel like I could go either way, but I'm gonna fight for that new generation today. I'm gonna predict in their favor. So,
yeah, I'm gonna echo that. I don't think we've ever seen a proper clean sweep against either one of these players when they match up, or any commanding victories. I'm also gonna be rooting for vengeurR in this one, 2-1.
I feel like 2-1 is the safest bet you can have. Between who, that's where it becomes a bit more of a question, doesn't it? 2-1 is the safe bet. I wouldn't be surprised either way, because they have proven they are rivals. They go back and forth. It is a true rivalry in Quake Champions with these two. I agree with you guys. I feel like today could be vengeur's day, because he continues to just be super pumped and super hungry.
Now, with that being said, if k1llsen brings it and is like, oh no, now the oven is on, the fire is hot, and and shows us, like, this is why I won several stages and the kickoff event, I'm gonna be a happy camper. So, I hope maybe that's a little bit of motivation for k1llsen to be like, all right, I'm gonna bring it everything, but I'm still gonna go with vengeurR.
What we're guaranteed to get is a damn good match, and we saw an entire year of matches between these two players to see exactly why that is the case, right? So there's a reason this is, for me, definitely the most competitive match of today. This is one hell of a way to kickstart season 2, and as I said earlier before the break, a perfect celebration of what current competitive Quake actually looks like. This is the highest level.
Absolutely.
It is. Yeah, it is the highest level. And as you were kind of alluding to before, it's still incredible to see, like, these players that have been playing for 20 years, for 10 years, for 5 years. And it's a testament to I think how quickly people are improving at arena FPSs to have someone like vengeurR, who's relatively young, hasn't been playing as long, but can still go up against veterans who have, you know, dedicated some of their entire professional gaming life to Quake and various Quake games. So, you know, that's still one of the reasons why I love Quake, why it still speaks to me, and you know, it's just exciting to have that aspect of it to kick off season 2.
Well, speaking of speaking, it's funny you should mention that, because our first map week is good to go, which means it's going to be you and me joining forces to commentate this match, mate. So we're going to go into our first map, and you know, we've talked about our predictions and how we think it's going to go. I just think it's going to be a good match at the end of the day, and I'm excited to get started.
Yeah, I think so too. I expect to have some butt clenching action is what I'm hoping for this matchup.
Yes, especially if we get one of those patented vengeurR sudden deaths, which goes on for like 20 minutes. I think that's going to be especially good. And actually, funny enough, we're starting things off on Blood Covenant, which is historically where some of vengeur's most insane overtimes have actually taken place. Saves it for finals, I think the kid does.
Yeah, and you know, not surprising given that map. In fact, I think we even saw a couple during our last Quake World Championship that, you know, went a little bit longer, very meticulous, sudden deaths. And if we get to that again, I'm going to be completely fine. I mean, we've had some decent games today, but also some complete, you know, stomps. So what I'd hope more than anything out of this series is some close games.
So for those that are joining us today, I know that this is our biggest match, which has the highest chance of people tuning in. Welcome. This is Season 2 of our Quake Pro League. It feels like we've only just finished the World Championship.
Right?
There was I blinked and missed the break, I think. But every single map in Season 2 counts. It's all about the money. 150 bucks per map win. 50 for a loss, and that's not even counting the 100k each for stage 1 and 2, 150,000 for the World Championships. There's a lot of them on the line, and every map counts. These players are going to go all out. The matchup, Athena versus Visor, all about that utility and vision of the Visor, and the sheer unrivaled mobility of Athena on this map gives vengeurR quite the edge.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I have to say, like, Athena is definitely one of the champions that at first maybe just I wasn't quite sure about, but seeing some of these players and how they utilize the hook is just, you know, it adds a new element to things that I really, really like.
Now there's that piercing sight coming out. Try to set things up, but no damage. He's going to have all that information, knows where vengeurR is. Speaking of which, vengeurR, not shy of making that push. Looking for a little bit more of that armor on deck. vengeurR, a lot more healthy. k1llsen not looking too unhealthy himself, to be honest. But I am curious to see whose rails game is going to be more on point. That's what k1llsen, you know, he's going to bring that A+ rail every single time. And on Blood Covenant, it's so important.
Yeah, I mean, it's hugely important. It's how you're, you know, regaining control of an area, controlling you know, the mega, the red. It's just the heavy. It is so important, and especially with this light champion as well. And it's why I'm not surprised that both players are taking this kind of slow by comparison. To start us off. I mean, a minute and a half, and we've seen each other exchange, you know, a few shots here and there, but no one quite ready to commit to that first battle.
Speaking of commitment, we do finally see it just shy of 2 minutes in. vengeurR scoring that first blood, and now k1llsen has to play the information game fresh off the spawn. He knows vengeur's likely to cycle around the items, and he has to find a safe escape. Now, how does he recover from this one? He's towards rail. Looks like vengeurR already has the right idea. He knows that k1llsen is hungry for that rail.
Yeah, he's does try to get some LG damage from up above there. Just gonna stay in position now. k1llsen, you know, he's hit what he's need to. You know, vengeurR getting on the board first though, and oh, there's a nice rail on the bridge. You're gonna be able to follow up with that one.
A little bit of health and stabilization there from k1llsen. Opening rail towards the heavy. Really looking for a couple more of those, especially while vengeurR is not quite hitting the mark either. That would have been some delicious damage for k1llsen to get unreturned. Piercing sight, that rail missing. His position's already given away. He has to make the damage count, but it's swiftly returned. k1llsen not getting the damage in that exchange that I really think he wanted. And it's unlike k1llsen to miss that many rails back to back.
There's a nice one from down below, though. Going to get the second one. He does, and now they're tied 1-1. 3 minutes on the clock. Still plenty of time here, but I think that's exactly what he needed to do. Hits that rail from the bottom, and then a nice one as he comes back up. He got himself heavy, and now will make his way back over to Mega. And he knows that vengeurR is over here. He's going to fire some rockets from down below. That one doesn't hit. He's got him trapped now in the corner. Could get a follow-up, and he does. 2-1 late k1llsen. Now he has the lead.
Clean frag too. And look at the stack in return. He has all the weapons he could want. Plenty of rails. 16 shots against the vengeurR, who's just about to get probably one little armor. Yeah, he does. Oh, risky rail to go for at that range. Might not have expected vengeurR to actually be kind of waiting around there. I don't think vengeurR was interested in doing anything about it.
No, not at all. Another great rail from k1llsen. I mean, you mentioned it before. We didn't quite see as many starting out, but k1llsen is now hitting the rails that he needs to. He missed the one on the way down, but follows up with a second one. I don't think... There we see the piercing sight come out. And a beautiful... I mean, that was excellent use of that ability right there. It's that moment you're like, oh yeah, the jump pad's completely safe to go up here. And it's like, nope, it's absolutely not. k1llsen now taking another frag lead over vengeurR.
Now, I feel like that was such a unique angle. Even if vengeurR didn't hear the activation of piercing sight, he probably assumes that was a piercing sight shot.
Yep.
So there is going to be a little bit of extra knowledge of thinking, you know, does he have the piercing sight ready to go? It's such a hard thing to micromanage because you have no way of knowing that it's always down or that it's always ready, unless you're next to him every time. It's a bit of a scary game to play. But k1llsen with this 3-1 lead. He knows that vengeurR, the light's been taken, so he has a bit of maths in his head. He knows how much damage he's likely to try and dish out. Nice attempt on that rail. Doesn't quite hit its mark. That tri-bolt certainly doesn't tickle either, especially versus those lights. Does he get the heavy? Looking to play the game. Who's going to hit the first shot here? Looks like it's going to be k1llsen. vengeurR gets the heavy, but he's not healthy by any stretch of the imagination.
No, and he's gonna wait for him over by Mega. Piercing sight comes out again to see if he's got some room to work with, and he actually moves back over. Gonna get in position now. He knows exactly where he's at. Now he's got an idea, sleeping around the corner now. He does hit, no, actually none of those tri-bolts hit. Looked like he was gonna back up right into it, but Mega should be, actually no, Mega was picked up by k1llsen. My bad, I completely missed it. So on the bridge now, just playing this as a slow game, and vengeurR too. I mean, what do you think, Ketchup, in terms of like the piercing sight? I think vengeurR feels like he's been burned a couple times with it, so it seems like he's playing a little bit slower as a result.
I mean, you have to show respect to a visor if you think there's even a chance it's available. You know, especially when you're this light champion. You can probably be a little bit more bold as now this fight's going to break out, and now it's used. Oh, looks for the angle, but when you're trying to survive, hitting those rail shots is easier said than done. He is still railable at this health. Still railable. And he's only just been able to make himself almost not. That 98, I mean, that's going to barely save his skin here. My point was that, you know, if you have even a shred of a hint someone has piercing sight and you're a light champion that doesn't have a massive stack, it's a scary game to play, especially going up against k1llsen, for crying out loud. I mean, the reason he's had that name for a long time, but he's getting a lot of rails in return. That should be the green light for vengeurR to push as much damage as he can to push out, but probably would have wanted to do a little bit more. Yeah, vengeurR, he's about to position himself towards this heavy. There's plenty of health bubbles around. It's not crazy punishing.
Yeah, I mean, I think vengeurR was patient. He landed that nice rail from the top. k1llsen in a bad position. He had a nice follow-up, and now we're seeing, you know, vengeurR, I feel like just moving a little bit faster, right? Trying to keep that pressure on. Another great defensive rail and a trade by both of them. So k1llsen just doing a great job. They're going to have a rocket battle at the bottom of the pillars, and k1llsen's going to take that one back. And I don't know, maybe a little bit too quick on it, but there it is, the return frag. He was incredibly weak, and now let's see if he can pick up heavy off of this, get back in the game. It's now 4-3, only one frag with less than 3 minutes to go.
And thankfully, Athena not needing to use a rocket jump to position. A nice little trap set there by k1llsen, some free damage that vengeurR cannot turn around and pass, but This is a pretty pivotal final moment of this map. k1llsen barely in the lead, but he does have a significant stack advantage. Piercing sight gone for a long time. Should be able to get a couple of hourglasses on the way, but I think the fight's a bit more important for him. Keep vengeurR behind. Now vengeurR has to play this careful game. He is no stranger to being behind. In fact, he's famously the player that you would expect to do the best when he doesn't control the items. He's happy to concede items. He somehow finds a way to squirm his way out of any bad situation.
Yeah, I completely agree. There's a nice little peak rail. He's going to grab the heavy, go down below, and pick up an LG. And I like these. He's definitely playing the angled game, as you said. He knows that he's got a limited amount of time. All he needs to do is get that perfect frag with the potential for a follow-up here. So I would expect him to continue to kind of play this almost like sneaky rat-like way. There he kind of accelerates into the mega room. Some exchange of fire there. Another nice rail. k1llsen, though, picked up the mega, so we're going to have a battle over by heavy. He's going to take his way back up, misses that grapple, but knows exactly where k1llsen is. Is going to go in to the bottom of the pillars. Rockets coming out. There's a nice shot. A second as a follow-up. He is not quite railable, but he's going to continue to fight from down below. Not sure I like this position here.
At the very least, vengeurR picking up those 3 hourglasses gives him at least 1 grappling hook, though, so it is going to make his potential fight here towards Mega a little bit more interesting, but he's out of rails. He needs to use a second one, surely, on more rail ammo. Taking this fight with no rail is going to be such a scary game to play.
Yeah, that is rough. Very two nice rails to even get the impressive, and not having a follow-up on there had to have been a little bit frustrating. But he catches k1llsen down below. There's a direct rocket. k1llsen, both these players are about the same health and armor. Their mega is going to be picked up. vengeurR just waiting a couple seconds here, and he's not going to have much time here. Only about 20 seconds remaining. He's definitely got to turn on the pressure right now. He needs to at least tie it up. He's got his opponent take it.
k1llsen has no choice but to try and outgun, but with a stack that significant, there's no way you can do it. The moment they clashed heads towards the middle of that map, there was no way k1llsen was surviving. The aggression from Athena is too real, but what's alarming is that k1llsen does not have a lot of weapons to fight back with. Surely he won't use the teleporter. vengeurR, can he find him? He's completely lost him.
He has.
He heard a jump pad, though, I think.
That was too bad, because there's a lot of damage put there on k1llsen. As you mentioned, he had nothing in his arsenal at all. I think he still has the advantage here, but can't be too aggro. He is going to be able to get both the heavy and the mega, and I feel like that puts k1llsen in a really, really rough spot. I mean, that's got to be a little rough too, giving up that spot when you did have the lead. Rails from down below. There's a beautiful one hitting from down below. A second one for the impressive. He's just got to grab the kill.
He was able to, at the very least, nullify the effectiveness of that mega, so k1llsen's left with pretty much no armor. He did just soak up a light, but that's as good as it's going to get for him. No doubt vengeur's going to shut that one down, so he knows there's pretty much going to be no armor left on the map. Heavy did get taken by k1llsen, so definitely could have been worse. Into overtime, an extended overtime, no doubt it's going to be these two bringing it. I mean, I can't say I'm surprised.
Yeah, me neither. And we just saw k1llsen actually steal away that heavy. I don't think that's what vengeurR intended, but here we've got a rail fight, and vengeurR decides, you know what? I don't know if I want to fight this one yet. Backs off in the LG room and then fires a couple rockets up. He's going to take the other side of the map, and we'll see how much time do we have left over here. It's picked up, and now vengeurR bringing it back. But as you mentioned earlier, Ketchup, you know, this whole vengeurR will play sudden death to his pace, and if that means it's going to take 10 minutes, then it'll take 10 minutes.
I cannot believe he hit that flyby rail. He's hitting multiple, gets the third. k1llsen is going to drop into this overtime. vengeurR, I mean, there's a reason he is, if we're talking about up-and-comers, the young blood that is just taking the competitive scene by force, vengeurR is that player, and that is exactly why. Ridiculous.
I mean, you really have to credit vengeurR for staying cool in a situation where k1llsen has that lead. He builds it up, and, you know, he's playing in a way that it's making it very difficult for you to, you know, to pick it up, right? Like, a lot of times players can you know, feel pressured at that point. Maybe they rush, they make some mistakes, they miss some shots, but that is just simply not the case with vengeurR. And to think about the fact, Ketchup, that he even delayed Mega as he watched the clock tick down to the final 30 seconds. He had that much confidence in himself that he was going to still be able to get that kill versus k1llsen. And that in and of itself is pretty damn incredible for a player to have at this point of this first game in this series.
The clutch factor of vengeurR continues to be absurdly real. And this was that moment where k1llsen, there really was nothing you could do. The second they clashed heads, that was all there was to it. And this is the moment it all fell apart. vengeurR, this started from him pushing his way into jump pad, by the way, knowing that k1llsen could see him. I mean, there's one rail, the second to nullify the Mega, and this was the final piece of the puzzle, just squeezing that out. Shouts to production for Snap. I'm glad we got that on slow-mo. That was one hell of a way to end that first map. But yeah, impressive stuff all round. k1llsen, I mean, he's probably not going to be particularly happy about that, but that's a close game. It could have gone either way up until the final moment, but vengeurR with the clutch, as always.
That was beautifully clutch, and I don't blame k1llsen for wanting to drop down there after getting pegged with 2 rails and just saying, you know what, I need to not be up here. But vengeurR, he was waiting for it. He knew after he hit that second rail, it was like, I'm going to hit you with this third one as you fall down to the bottom of the columns. And sure enough, GG. Poggers in chat, for indeed, that was an impressive way to finish that game.
I think it's just it's the exact kind of first map back that we grow to expect from the two of them. And there's a reason that when you see these two players in bracket, you already know what you're in for before you see it. And when the map happens, it's like, I'm thoroughly entertained. That was sick, but also it's exactly what I thought would happen. So GG's all round. But the overtime, I mean, that can take it out of many players. A lot of mental fortitude, I think, required to stay 100% on your A game all the way through, going into more maps. I mean, that was just map 1, and they had to fight tooth and nail for it.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, I speak from experience where it's like overtime is the worst. I'm like not a player who can handle that, whether in a team setting or any other setting. It's rough, right? I mean, you have to try to play a perfect game at that point, and it's way more difficult to claw your way back if you do take a bad fight or your opponent does land 3 of those amazing rails. I mean, if you'd imagine if k1llsen had it, or if vengeurR had missed that final rail, k1llsen had dropped down, you know, he's still running away with what, sub 50 health and no armor, not a whole lot he could do, and that's like not the place that you want to be. It looks like we are ready for our second map, and Corrupted Keep, right?
Indeed. I mean, it is so different to every other map that this can always go either way, and you kind of have to just remove it from the rest of the rotation, because what happens in Corrupted Keep stays in Corrupted Keep. No rail, so that's going to be, you know, it's going to impact both players. But the combat skill of vengeurR, you know he's going to be a beast on this map because his rockets are incredible. Absolutely phenomenal. The rocket launcher is, I mean, it's arguably the most important weapon on this map for those close range exchanges. But, I mean, everything that's not a rail has importance. The heavy machine gun matters a great deal. The super shotgun is ridiculously strong on this map.
Yeah, and I mean, we've been seeing players, even in one of the last matchups, we saw some really, really great shotgun action on this particular map. And I don't know, I'm excited to see. I think we're going to see similar to what we saw in game number 1 catch-up, where we see a lot of respect in these opening minutes between these two players. You know, let me figure out which of this map territory I'm going to grab. Let me figure what you're going after. And actually, we're going to have a fight right off the bat in the Mega Room. Mega was picked up. A rocket, as k1llsen decided to stay there and does land a nice rocket. He will use the orb to get out of there and find himself with 180 yet again. But he is sneaking up here on vengeurR, still looking for that first frag. Know that he's got to be low with potentially no armor at all. Some more LG. Is he going to back off? He will back off. He lets him live another day.
Now, k1llsen specifically waiting a little bit of time before taking heavy. But that has basically meant that there is no delay between the two of them. As, yeah, take a look at the top left. You can see pretty even split, all things considered. Even though this is Corrupted Keep, 1 second is not even going to come close to letting you run in. But it does mean both players are stacked. vengeurR having a little bit more of that HP. But as I've said many times today, You just have to factor in the factor of that orb. You have to factor in its burst potential. And the fact that other champions can't do it. Now,
oh, wow.
Mega soaked up, but this should by all means be a frag for k1llsen. vengeurR, there's nothing to his name. Oh, somehow that that shotgun did 8 damage. How did it only do 8 damage? I cannot believe it.
I mean, I guess that's the only way that he wasn't going to get the frag is if vengeurR killed himself and 0-1. Not the way they want to start. Now, he did get some good damage on k1llsen, which is fortunate, but he's still now fighting with the frag disadvantage. Yeah, k1llsen flew away with like less than 21 health, I believe, and all of his armor depleted right there. Going to have to pick up a light. But he's got control of this map now. He had pretty good control before, keeping vengeurR over in that corner, but it was unfortunate. He's just got to k1llsen just needs to build off of this. I mean, if this fortunate event for him.
But this is vengeurR we're talking about. He's not shy of making these comebacks. Doesn't quite get the damage. I wonder even, did he run out of LG ammo there, it looks like. But either way, it's going to get swiftly taken back. And now able to somewhat make this climb. vengeurR, perfect amount of stack to work with too. Only an LG in hand with a super shotgun, but I think he's confident that's all he needs at the moment.
Yeah, and has k1llsen stuck up in there. I mean, that frag was actually crucial. It allowed vengeurR to get not only the heavy but the mega as well. And so he's got the timing potential here. And as long as he can continue to sort of isolate k1llsen to that side of the map, he's going to be in good shape. But he missed the mega. He decided to go ahead and let k1llsen have that. He will be able to pick up the heavy. And at least he got rid of that frag deficit. I think that's like the important thing here as he makes his way back over. And we kind of have an equalization, even though k1llsen is 1 frag in the lead. But, getting the heavy and the mega kind of separate a little bit. It'll be interesting to see what happens in this next fight. We're going to have an exchange of rockets. vengeurR's going to go after him. LG coming out from k1llsen. The rockets continue to be rained down, and there is the mega. Is he going to be able to go over there and grab the heavy as well? It looks like the answer is no, but still a great beat here on his opponent, and he is keeping the pressure on k1llsen hard. Now,
the extra dynamic this matchup will introduce, Ranger and Doomslayer, is that orb is so crucial to some of these fights. The thing about Doomslayer is that he's not really going to use Berserk at all, which means those hourglasses, they belong to Ranger. So that orb is going to be available a lot longer and more often, which might be a bit of a pain. Doesn't really look like it's been an issue for vengeurR so far, mine, but definitely something to think about as he keeps the stack relatively even. Catching that double jump with some pretty nice LG, but it's swiftly returned by the Italian, so it's not the end of the world either way. And now that kind of 9-second delay between the 2 items begins, and on a map this small, that is a substantial delay to actually work with. Looks like vengeurR's in better position for it, and k1llsen actually nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, I'm curious. So he's up top there waiting for the heavy, but I think both these are going to be picked up by vengeurR, and it was funny because those two were synced. The mega and the heavy were synced for a while, and then they just slowly started to float apart. vengeurR has definitely gotten more of an advantage from that than k1llsen has. So I mean, I give some control points here to vengeurR. k1llsen, though, he's playing the game that he needs to play, and all you have to do is be up by a single frag to take victory. So it'll be interesting to see exactly how vengeurR decides that he's going to, approach this. Less than 5 minutes left to go. There he catches k1llsen coming around the corner with that LG. Does get some good damage off. k1llsen a little bit lower on health than I'm sure he would like to be. And now vengeurR looking, I think he's got blood in his eyes and knows about where k1llsen is. But k1llsen with the rocket jump up, a beautiful rocket, and then a follow-up as he pegs him to the wall. We're tied 1-1.
Mayhem. Absolute madness. He was able to somehow find that solution, but the element of vengeurR against all odds, very hard to count him out. Another 100 damage rocket just like that, but he's tender now. We talk about his ability to find these frags that you would never expect, but this one might be pretty difficult. No armor to his name, and this is why he's playing this slow-paced information game. He has the timing on the mega. Listen to it. A lot of, actually a fair amount of spam coming out from the plasma, but it's not enough. There's no way he's going to be able to fight for this heavy. Speaking of which, k1llsen, another delay between the two of them. I think he's looking to push out a bit first before taking it.
Yeah, and I think that actually it's not great for vengeurR in this situation. It is still up. I don't know if he wanted to completely throw him off, but he decided to go in for the fight. He's going to pull the LG out now, 62 points of health. He does grab that Mega and is going to head on over, and there we go. He grabs both, and now he's the better player than both of us, so I'm not going to question that one at all because vengeurR is
not.
very, very low. And he had every reason to do that. 1 point of health remaining, and there it is. The shotgun comes out, and k1llsen takes the lead once again. It's 2-1.
I mean, what that resulted in was being able to take both items at pretty much the same time after making vengeurR at death's door. Like, that was an unwinnable situation for him. And that does mean that there's a string of momentum. What? A complete juggle there. Just keeping him up. And the damage is immense. The orb available. And this is one of the worst times the orb can be available. If you're in vengeurR's shoes, because, I mean, where's your armor? He needs armor desperately. One rocket and an orb with this lack of stack is a death sentence. The defensive rockets, vengeurR, the defensive positions, he has to stay with these.
And k1llsen's just not giving him much option there. He's going to grab the Mega. He's taking both of the lights as well, using that shotgun down to about 90. Oh, and there it is, the follow-up. He was down to about 94 points of health, but it didn't matter. He knew that his opponent was screaming, and that frag was in his grasp. And now he's got his opponent trapped up there yet once again from the bottom, still managing to hit these shots catch up. And Rocket, LG, however, starting to get a little bit in the danger zone, waiting for that Mega to pop.
Wow.
2-1, and he gets the frag even before it spawns. 4-1. Balls of steel right there. Wow.
That is a frustrating frag to concede, as we're about a minute and a half away from this map being done. vengeurR, he needed that. If he got that frag, it would have been just in time for the Mega. He could have reestablished himself. He has thankfully been able to take away the heavy, so it's not complete domination from k1llsen. But even though this is corrupted keep, that is still not a position you want to be down in. Here comes the orb, but he just doesn't get the damage.
Not at all. And I mean, vengeurR now, and he's got the Mega too. So, wow, he finds himself completely turning the tables here. However, we got to point out that there's a minute left, and down by 2, all of the burden is on vengeurR at this point. k1llsen game definitely feels like he's had control in this map, and he's got 40 seconds to basically play as much keep away and the most intelligent game of keep away that he has ever played before. Gets caught going up that jump pad with the LG. vengeurR have an opportunity here. He pulls out the shotgun and does manage to make it a 1 frag game and catch up. Is this going to happen a second time? We talked about the cool and collectedness of vengeurR. Is he going to pull this off?
He gets the perfect spawn. He delays it just long enough with a rocket jump to catch him on the way down, but he's lost him again. Can he find him? Catches him through the teleporter. Is this going to be enough to seal the deal? Looks like k1llsen got a little bit stuck on the terrain, but is that enough? He's got so much stack. I do not think vengeurR is going to be able to chase him down. Although he found him, he just couldn't get the damage on board, and that will be a victory. That was an emotional map all the way through, and he just could not seize the damage at the end, and it remains even Stevens.
He's going to go back. vengeurR's going to go back and watch that, and I do not think he expected k1llsen to get stuck there in that little ledge at all, because I think he actually aimed as if he was falling down, and I don't know. I'm going to have to see that one again, but that's unfortunate, because that, I think, was the opportunity to take it into sudden death. What an interesting game. And also, as I'm seeing this replay, I'm reminded vengeurR killed himself, had to fight that frag back. So technically, we should have been in overtime, but that is not the way that things went down. So.
Yeah, sometimes it's one of those exchanges where there are certain exchanges where you just say one of us dies here, and it's either going to be -1 to you or +1 to me. I think that was absolutely one of those. I know Dewey was unfortunate enough to be in that position twice in a row earlier today, having one of the first double suicides that we'd seen in the Pro League. But at the end of the day, k1llsen just played that so incredibly well. His control over those items was fantastic, especially that moment where he was able to take pretty much both the items at the exact same time, and the damage that vengeurR was able to seize this. He got this frag, And then it was, you have a little bit of time to find one more. And it was that final, like, confrontation that they had that he just couldn't quite finish up. But that's just very classic of k1llsen. His efficiency, when we factor in, the items that he takes. I mean, just looking at the split, there was actually a complete mirror effect. 7 heavies versus 12 megas of vengeurR, and then 7 megas and 11 heavies. It's just one shy of it being almost a complete mirror of itself. That was pretty incredible stuff. But our final map, we're going into it as we always will. But this one's going to mean a little bit more for these two players, because it's not just figuring out who gets the 2-1. It's the pride, which there's always pride on the line when it comes to these two beasts going head to head.
I agree. It's probably less about the money in this particular game and more about I need this win to kick off my stage 1, week 1 of season 2. I mean, I can't stress how important that is for any player. You don't want to go into the new season, play 2 extraordinary games, and then not be able to pull it out in that final series. Granted, like, both these players, incredibly awesome, respect the hell out of one another, but you want to go into that stage 1 with that victory. So the money's on the line, the rivalry's on the line, and the momentum going into future weeks are on the line as well. So what an intense way to kick off stage 1 here of season 2, for sure.
I'm glad to see it. And I'm sure you lovely people watching the stream are happy to see it. I mean, if you haven't done already, make sure you're sharing out the stream, folks. Twitch.tv/Quake. This is, as I've said before, a perfect representation of what the highest level Quake champions currently looks like. And we're diving into Awoken. Can be fast, can be slow. I mean, this map has many layers to it. But with these two beasts, I think we can expect a damn good one. Just to find out who's going to get that 2-1 win. 2 rivals that just can't seem to settle on who has the upper hand, I think.
Oh, it's going to be an interesting one. I mean, amazing to think that one frag has separated both of the games that we've seen today. So, don't disappoint with this third game. I'm not suggesting that they will. I think that this is, an interesting matchup between these two, and we're started, and already we've seen first rails coming out here.
And it's a battle of the big bodies, the Clutch and the Sorlag. k1llsen, I would say, has more movement, but you can barely say that with Clutch. Clutch, incredibly agile, but I think it is incredibly hard to play at the highest level. There's a reason not everyone actually uses Clutch, because controlling Clutch on a map like this is no easy feat.
Yeah, not at all here. And we've got our first battle here, first big exchange. They're going to go back and forth. That rail hit? It's a second one, definitely did. Yes, it did. And now vengeurR down, and there it is, the shotgun kill on the follow-up, and k1llsen is going to take the first one. He didn't like our predictions catch up. He wants to rewrite the narrative on this one.
He'll have something to say about it, no doubt. The lightning gun and the shield wall off, and that's all Clutch needs when he knows he can push in. And who even cares about that damage over the time when you're a walking robot with a big shield ready to go and a lightning gun? Happy days. And it's a swift 1-1. I feel like this might be a taste of things to come. This might be a bit of a slobber knocker.
It might be, and I mean, definitely. I know I've heard players and a lot of other folks talk about how frustrating Clutch can be to play against in this situation. We're gonna have to see exactly how k1llsen attacks this one, but yeah, tied 1-1 here. It's kind of a reset in the grand scheme of things, and just waiting for both the heavy. Oh, that rocket hitting the feet of k1llsen there. He's going to throw the acid down and doesn't grab the heavy and the mega both up. LG going up the jump pad. The shield comes out and a shotgun point blank. 2-1 now. vengeurR in the lead.
And those large champions will be so vulnerable to the spread of the super shotgun. Quite the miracle weapon versus those larger models, but vengeurR still. You have to show respect. Playing Clutch at this level, you know what you're in for. You're going to get hit. If there's a rail angle, you're probably going to get hit. If there's a lightning gun fight, they're probably going to get more hits than normal. So you have to put so much confidence in your own aim. Looks like vengeurR Not quite able to land these rails, but he still remains in a better position for the heavy. And that is going to be the deal, well, the real deal closer in some of these fights. If you have that much stack, and you haven't even used the shield wall yet, as the shield wall becomes available very soon.
Yeah, it's up right now, and I kind of like what vengeur's doing here. He's you know, playing patient. So far, he's been trying to hit those rails, and at that point, that's when he's sort of going aggressive, and he's going to do it yet again. LG fight here between the two. Shield comes out, and then 2 easy rockets as he goes up the jump pad, getting that initial damage with the LG right off the bat. And he's got both the power-ups now, which makes it very difficult for k1llsen. He's not going to give up, though. He knows that shield's down. He knows it's down for a considerable amount of time. It is the time to attack, but he doesn't have much of a health armor stack. He'll grab the light there, and he does manage to get the frag with a rocket kill. He's very low, though. Will vengeurR pick up the kill? Oh.
I'm also not amazingly convinced that k1llsen had complete timing on that Mega. I think knowing that he was weak and that vengeurR had just spawned and was looking to refrag, I do not think that k1llsen would have stuck around with that Mega if he knew there was 10 seconds to wait.
Yeah.
Oh, another pickup. The refrag will be real. Let's not forget the amount of stack these large champions spawn with. If you frag and you're barely breathing and they've spawned near you, you're probably still a done deal. So you have to get clean frags or make sure there's a plan B, some sort of escape. Shield wall coming out. vengeurR, that should be a clean pickup. Now, what is there to soak up the wounds? He's got one of the light healths. Looking like he got the heavy too, so it's not the end of the world, but the starting shotgun, is that enough? Oh! It will be. Oh, so good.
Again, back and forth. k1llsen gets the frag. He's not looking too healthy, picks up that light, and he's, you know, realizing he's got a large mountain to climb here, but certainly I think playing the game that he needs to. Spit is up, and so he'll have that to use, but you know, I thought that vengeurR was in a position that he was going to try to just start to run away with it, but you know, k1llsen is a beast, right? He is not going to let that happen. Some great rails have been exchanged by both these players, and essentially trying to play that game, hit that first rail, get some damage off, and then you know, chase when they can, especially in a situation where you know that your opponent's ability is down. So playing this one a little bit slower now at this 5-minute mark. So LG coming out there, rocket hits as well. And now we've got the heavy picked up. k1llsen going to make his way over. 3 seconds until that Mega. And it is going to be picked up by Clutch. He's going to wait for it. Nice rail. Second one. Ooh. That would have been nice to hit. Would have negated that.
He had the right angle. He knew where vengeurR was going to retreat to. Just didn't quite get the money shot at the end, but 4.5 minutes. Plenty of time either side. I guarantee you this is not going to be a one more frag of a game. We're going to see plenty more. However, k1llsen really trying to push, but that missed rail could be a lot more punishing than he expects. vengeurR looking to disengage, but he sets up for the heavy. The robot flying way too fast, and that's a pickup.
Oh. I don't know if he was expecting him to come back into that room. I don't think he would have gone up that jump pad otherwise, but caught him in the air, and you know what that feels like, being just suspended. It's not fun. You'd think it's like flying, but it's not like that at all. It hurts very badly. vengeurR though in the red now, 76 points of health. It was in the danger zone, and k1llsen does not want this lead to continue to spread. With less than 4 minutes left to go, you know, every single additional frag that vengeurR might pack up there will just make it a little bit tougher on k1llsen. So if there's a time to, you know, bring it back, it is now. He does not want to see this go to a 3-frag lead at all.
And as we can see, even with the fact that vengeurR is playing this flying fridge that is Clutch, even though he has the stack, he's got the movement and the shield, he is still happy to concede these major items. He allowed k1llsen to take both of them, just so vengeurR can just play this strong defensive game. It is his style, regardless of champion, and you don't see Clutch play this defensive often. Normally, Clutch, we see it from Razier. We see full speed ahead at all times. This is a different layer to the champion.
Completely agree. And I have to say, I kind of like it. Oh, very, very low. vengeurR run away. 20 points of health. Does pick up a health bubble there. And there's a beautiful rail from k1llsen. And once again, keeping that score close. Now, this would be a big momentum switch here if he could actually convert this into an additional frag. He misses that rail, which is unfortunate. We're going to go up the jump pad again. Oh! vengeurR returns the rail in midair. It hurts so bad, but it feels so good to see. 7-5 now, 2 frag lead once again for vengeurR.
And it's likely to be even more so. vengeurR looking for a pretty creative flick right there, I have to say. Didn't quite hit its mark. But he conceded a frag a couple of times ago where he got stuck on the wall and railed for free. That's the extra element of clutch. It's why his movement is not as easy as it looks at this level, because you get stuck once, you're dead. You have to be perfect with your movement.
Yeah, completely agree. There we have k1llsen picking up that mega. vengeur's feeling pretty good about the position he's in. We're going to hit that 2-minute warning here just now. We got the shield coming out, and there is a fight, but actually k1llsen just kind of disengaging a little bit. And, you know, not quite ready to fight yet, but that's okay too. I think he needs to, you know, figure out how he's going to spend these last 2 minutes. A little exchange of fire here, and you know, this is this scary moment where, you know, k1llsen, a player that's completely capable of bringing it back, but, you know, vengeur's also a player completely capable of playing defensive and, you know, the keep away game, especially with a champion like Clutch. So this is all a burden on k1llsen once again.
Major fight's going to break out. Is he going to be able to seal the deal? vengeurR has been holding on to that shield wall so protectively. Is he going to pop it soon? I do wonder. He's just been, yeah, saving it looks like so far. And time is starting to run out for k1llsen. He has to make sure he secures this frag, but he misses the final rail. He's going to be kicking himself about that missed shot.
That is rough, and that is going to make it very, very difficult for k1llsen to bring this one back. Not going to give up quite yet. There is going to be the frag. All right, I'm not going to count this out yet, actually. 9 minutes, 24 seconds. Is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? It is going to be tough, but, you know, k1llsen is a champion. He's got both the major items now, and he is definitely on the hunt right now. He's going to get some LG damage, but a perfect rocket kind of spits him out, makes it a little bit tougher for him to run back, but that is probably going to be it now. 15 seconds left to go, and what another great game between these two.
Indeed, vengeurR has the shield wall. He could have delayed his spawn anyway. This is going to be done and dusted. A complete, perfect demonstration of why these two rivals go head-to-head so often, and it's always, always close. But that is going to be the clutch coming out in the end, and it was nice to see a different style of this champion. Normally we see this champion almost exclusively used by Razy, and it's all in, just in your face all day, every day.
Yeah.
vengeurR, a bit more reserved, I think, with the champion this time round.
I mean, Razy's clutch is the kind that just makes you want to just say, like, this is all horseshit. Like, this is just not, you know, like, and this did not necessarily seem that way, but I would say it's equally effective of a way to play clutch, right? I mean, man, I just watching Razy's clutch was like frustrating in an awesome way. Don't get me wrong, during the Quake World Championships, but I like this. This seemed like a, you know, a vengeurR clutch. It made a lot of sense in how he played and how he approached this game.
So big, and then when he appears, he's in your face, fully stacked with a shield. So yeah, even that is frustrating in his own way.
It is. What ZSX, what'd you think of this matchup? I mean, our prediction was right, which is, you know, feels good, man.
Yeah, that's all I care about, really, the fact that we all got it right. But I know, I mean, it's what we expected, as close can be. I don't think any map was bigger than a 2 frag difference, and it was incredibly back and forth. I felt that, it does feel that to me that vengeur's definitely come on even another level. I felt that this was as clinical as I've seen him play in a long time. Like how patient he was, even coming from behind on Blood Covenant, was remarkable. And he carried that momentum through. He was severely unlucky not to come away, at least tying up the second map. I don't think he played Death Knight on the first. That's from my memory.
We can always hope. We can always hope. No, it was the Athena. Yeah, it was the Athena
it was the
to use.
Yeah.
With his clutch, man, that clutch Blood Covenant win at the end. That was quite the ending. That was quite the ending for him. But I mean, it is vengeurR all over, where he's not shy of bringing it into overtime, and when he has to bring it in the absolute most highest of stress situations, he does bring it. I mean, you don't see vengeurR choke. You know what I mean? He always brings that A game, and he steps up. And I mean, talented player right here.
It's one of the factors you can't really see or observe that well without understanding the game at quite a level. But the fact that k1llsen's statistics was so low is credit to how effective vengeurR is in terms of positioning and how he shows on the map. Like someone as strong as k1llsen just cannot hit vengeurR because he's always forced into playing these incredibly tough angles or taking clutch shots where other players he can line up easier shots. And so it's just credit to how astute vengeurR is in terms of map awareness and positioning, the way he approaches fights, and it's that's why these two have such close games.
I'm still blown away in that game one, that final 30 seconds, because that's usually the like, oh crap, I've got to get this frag, I've got to tie it up. But again, I'm like so impressed with his confidence that he was just like, I'm going to get what items I need, and then I'm going to go kill him.
He even did it on on Corrupted Keep. He had like 20 seconds to go, and he backed off to pick up the Mega, and then still found k1llsen. Unfortunately, didn't execute that one.
He did the same thing.
Yeah, exactly the same confidence in his ability.
And on Blood Covenant, it was, let me just quickly wait for this Mega real quick. Yeah. Okay, good. Boom. He was like right in there, but he did fine.
Yeah.
He found what he needed to. But that's the kind of stuff that I think as well that you evidently cannot teach. It just has to come from the experience. That level of decision making, not only does it have to be made by learning and just playing, but playing at that level against that caliber of player.
And it's this definition of trust the process, do X, Y, Z, and you'll get to what you need, and that's what he does.
It's actually like it's so important when you're playing at this level, right? If you are not confident about hitting shots, then you're not going to take those shots, right? Yeah. And like we could sit here and be like, oh, the missed shot, but I'm like, I probably wouldn't even take half those shots because there's no confidence. So I mean, to see them playing at this level and have that that level of confidence, and then hitting those shots, right? Like, I mean, the triple rail at the end was a great example of that from vengeurR. It's just like he was confident, like, I'm just gonna bust these three out, no problem. It's just always so impressive when you're talking about playing at this level, and it doesn't matter what esports game it is. It's something that we don't talk about enough, but is present on just about anyone that is playing at this caliber of and this level of play.
Absolutely. And on even the final map, where you already know you're in for an interesting one when you see Sorlag versus Clutch, but I'd really like to bring back to the style that vengeurR approached, where the movement and the tools and the sheer defensiveness wasn't used as simply to just powerhouse in and bully all map. And I'm not even close to suggesting that that's an inferior way of playing Clutch. It's different styles for different players with different, I guess, goals in mind. Like Razy plays Clutch to overwhelm, to annihilate, which is why his Clutch has been seen to be pretty much unstoppable versus everyone he's ever used it against, bar a couple of exceptions. k1llsen, I think, if I remember correctly, has actually been able to put a lid on that Clutch in the past. But vengeurR using it a little bit more reserved, being able to think, okay, well, I've got a lead now. I'm not just going to force my way around this map. I'm going to use this stack and this shield and the fact that I'm still hitting these shots to complement his defensive style of play, where he allowed k1llsen to collect those items and to cycle around and just be even more obnoxious to actually find and finish off.
Yeah, and that's when it's most scary. And it's something Razy does, is the fact that he uses that dash ability to reposition to hit the rails, which opens the opportunity for him to push. vengeurR took that a step further and then said, I'm going to continue to pecker away at you until my opportunity to attack is as perfect as it can be. So he had that, again, confidence to play around that. And it's not easy to play around k1llsen's aim as a Clutch and not get hit and out damage him. It's not easy at all.
So, if we're looking at k1llsen and vengeurR, the fact that they are two of the more successful players that we have in Pro League, absolutely. We've just started a fresh new season, and we'll talk just about stage 1 for now. And again, to remind us, it's now 3 stages, not 4, but the stages last a little bit longer. Out of vengeurR or k1llsen, we can expect them both to do well, but who of the two of them do we think has the chance to really ascend with the new year and the new stage? Like, I'm thinking this could be the year of vengeurR. if all things goes to plan for him. But I want to pick your brains about that too, starting with Wheat.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree, and I'm not suggesting like, oh, Wenger's going to come in and just mop the floor, but you can, we saw it at the end and during the Quake World Championships, right? It's like, this player is capable of amazing things, capable of taking on the best players in the world, capable of potentially being one of the best players in the world. Clearly, he has been practicing, he has been playing, he has been, using his time off wisely, because he's looking in top form. So, not saying I don't expect to see k1llsen, be k1llsen and return to form, but Wenger does look very impressive. So I would probably be more surprised with Wenger not doing well this stage 1 than I would, right, him picking up and winning all of his games and taking it far in the stage finals.
Yeah, I think the question always comes with when new players and things like that is consistency there, and he's proven that it is. So that's a great bonus for him in his favor. And I'm not the type of person that really buys into the thought of skill ceilings or potential, but k1llsen's obviously reached a level that he's now shown for some time, whereas Wenger continues to progress. And I think that there's still areas in Wenger's game that are changing and evolving, and he's clearly identified. And if they can grow, then he becomes even more powerful. I haven't seen that adaptation from k1llsen for some time, because he's at a level where he's won 2 championships. Like he's at that championship level, whereas Wenger's still changing parts of his game and appears a bit more versatile to me in his play style as well. So all of those ingredients would say to me, if he can continue that and keep that momentum, then he should be doing slightly better than k1llsen.
I almost kind of dread to think what Wenger is going to be like in 10 years. You know what I mean? Like with the fact that I just think about these things sometimes when you think of how much of a rich legacy Quake has as, one of the absolute innovators of the competitive gaming space, and how so many players that we still see to this day in Pro League have been around for longer than some competitive video game players have been alive by a significant margin. You look at someone like vengeurR, who is one of the youngest up-and-comers that we have in the Quake community, and he's already this good. And he's playing against people that are sometimes almost double his age. It's a scary thought for how good he could become.
Yeah, and old habits die hard, and he's lucky not to have too many bad habits to have to break. So yeah, so that's he can make some good ones.
Well, I mean,
you can.
Going into other matches, we've got that was, of course, I mean, you would think that was even our final heavy hitter, but we still have Rafa versus Scigib up next. What do we think of that one?
I mean, the big question is, right, like what the Rafa comes off as the champion of the Quake World Championship, right, is like that gives him a lot of weight to throw around as you start season 2 and stage 1 of the first week. I expect that we're going to see a beastie Rafa, right? So I mean, for me, it's I won't throw out my prediction quite yet, but
we'll save that for later.
Yeah, we'll save that for later. I mean, again, like I expect that Rafa's going to be in top form, and we'll have to see.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you watch traditional sports and then you see, like, I don't know, someone wins the Super Bowl or the Premier League or whatever it is, often commentators go, "Oh, do they have the hunger anymore?" And I'm like, have you ever played a sport in your life? Like, that's not a thing. Rafa, I don't think will have any trouble overcoming the hangover of winning the championship, and it probably only makes him more hungry to go and take another one.
Yeah, I mean, no one wins anything, I don't think, and goes, "All right, that's me done," because you know you're good enough to.
I always hate it when they start doing that. Is the hunger gone? Is the desire gone? Like, no, man, fuck off. No way. That doesn't happen.
Anyway, we have our interview lined up and ready. The man of the hour, none other than vengeurR. Are you there, mate?
Yeah. Hello. What's up?
Hello, good to have you here, mate. So well done, first of all, for playing incredibly well with that clutch pick by the very last minute, being able to clutch it out. No pun intended, that was completely accidental. So I guess we'll kind of rotate, we'll kind of take it in turns to ask you some questions. The first one, how have you spent your break? Because you seem to be in incredible form. The break between World Championships now, how has that time been spent, mate?
I've been trying to still be in shape, because I knew that the upcoming season is gonna be in September, so I didn't want to just go not playing and touching anything. So I've been just playing some deathmatch stuff just to get in shape. And in the past week I've just played, so I will say I was on a break, but at the same time, I didn't just like, just turn off the PC and do nothing for 20 days, just because that's not work. Doesn't work like that. So, yeah,
Balance.
it was pretty
Sounds like
chill.
balance.
So,
Yeah, good for you. I got to ask, because we saw a great performance out of you during the Quake World Championship. Strong like finish to the first season. Does that first victory over k1llsen feel like, okay, this is how I'm going to start off my season? And how do you feel like you will do this, not only this stage but this entire season?
Well, I think I feel really relieved, because every time I'm playing k1llsen, it's like always a battle, and it's like always 50-50 in so many situations, and in every map it could have gone 3-0 or 0-3, like it's crazy. And I'm really happy that I managed to win him, especially in the first match of the season. That was really a good good thing for me. I will just try to keep playing the same as I'm doing and try to just develop as a player in every aspect. I just learning, because that's how it is. At the end of the day, you just need to learn every day. So,
on that point of develop as a player, is there anything in your game that you see as what you should be working on, that you want to work on to take you to that next level?
I think when I'm in control, I should apply more pressure, because sometimes I feel like I'm just a bit like, sometimes I'm not committing when I should, and I'm giving way too much space to my opponents. For example, that's really what Rafa is best at doing, and I'm trying to analyze a bit of his gameplay, because he's really good at doing that. So, and also my timing, I would like to, I know I'm timing, but I would like it to be perfect all the time, like milliseconds and stuff, and it's gonna be really hard to do so, but I'm working on that daily.
So I'd like to pick your brains about the final map, actually, the clutch pick that you brought out. Now,
Yeah.
we've seen you play clutch before, but it's definitely safe to say it's not your most popular champion. You don't always pick clutch by any stretch. But clearly, the style that you brought forward was a little bit different to Razy. Razy is pretty much the only person we really see use this champion a lot, and your two teammates, of course. But your style with him was I don't want to use the term defensive, but you weren't as all-out aggression, right? But I just kind of want to pick your brains over what kind of inspired the clutch pick, and if it's something we might even see more from you in the future.
Well, I was playing clutch like 2 years ago, when it was really the meta of the game.
Long time.
But yeah. But then, like, after watching QuakeCon, I was like, okay, well, clutch is still viable and it's still good. So I've been practicing a bit with him, and against Sorlag was not an easy task, especially on a walk-in. So I had to really play carefully and try to just get the advantage out of every situation I could. Because against Sorlag, against tank, and if I am not able to take my shield back against k1llsen with his aim, it's not an easy task. And I don't want to experience it anytime soon again, for at least past the next weeks. So that's it. I just enjoy to play clutch, and I think it's a really fun champ, but at the same time, it's really risky to play. So playing him against k1llsen was a crazy thing to do, but it worked out somehow. So
well done, and congratulations for a good result to kickstart things. It's been a pleasure having you here, and good luck with the rest of the weeks. But this is not where tonight's entertainment ends. We have one more match to get through. We're going to go for a quick break and set things up. Thank you once again to vengeurR for a good game, and we will see you, everybody, after the break.